Every session is a little bit different with how people like to work in the studio, like the artist, the producer, and the other musicians. And today was really cool because it feels like everyone's really open and willing to listen. There's a lot of freedom, which is a really good feeling where people might share ideas, but everybody's excited to try something new. I'm really tired, I'm really jet lagged, but I'm on a musical high, and I've been running on espresso for the whole day. Things are going great so far, and I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow. So we've been here in the studio for 3 days now. We're gonna rehearse for a couple more days, and then we'll start recording. We're recording to tape, so that means no editing. We have to do it all, get it all right, and do it in the moment. So we're gonna take some time to really try and dial in all the right parts and get the right performances. So far things are going really well, and the energy is really good. I really like these songs. Thijs is awesome songwriter, and his brother Pim is doing a great job on drums. The producer Johan and the engineer Sebastian are top notch as well. So everything is going really good so far. So it's been a few days of rehearsing, and I think I've dialed in the sound for this album, for the bass, and I wanted to follow up and show you what I ended up going with. Brought the Mustang bass along, but I ended up switching from flat wounds to half rounds. From the moment I switched from flats to the half rounds, the bass just started to sit in the mix a little better. We're trying to do some weird bass sounds on this record in different songs. I love this germanium boost. It's a little extra texture. This is a really cool pedal. This is actually made here at the studio at Clouds Hill. It's a valve booster, and it's just got a really nice character. And then I'm playing around with some tremolo just for some fun, weird effects and some pre-choruses and down choruses and things. This is something the producer wanted me to try. And that brings up an interesting point. Like, if you're working in the studio and the producer has an idea, you just have to go with it and give it a try. And it's not something that I probably would have naturally done, but I think it's gonna be really cool on a couple of these tracks. And then we're using the flip top here, and I'm hitting it pretty hard by using 2 boosts, basically, getting some nice saturation out of the flip top, and we'll mic this up. Here's that bass sound. That's the sound with the thumb digging in. And then if I kick on that loud pedal, it goes from to. When you're playing with a band, you don't hear the overdrive as much. You just hear the note more. It just helps it grab in the mix. If you have a thick mix where you have drums that are digging in and you have electric guitar. So, and then with the fingers, and then with the pick. And if you really dig in, it's 4 different sounds just with how you're using your hands. It's just different levels of intensity to match the level of intensity that the other band members are playing. So yeah, that's what I'm working with so far, and I'm happy with it so far. It's cool. Thijs and his brother is on drums, and they have obviously a strong connection musically, and Rhett and I have played together for years, so I think it's kind of this cool combination of people coming together. We have Rhett, half the band's from America, half the band is from Holland, and we're meeting in Germany. We have an awesome producer, an awesome studio, and we're just taking the time to try and put these songs together piece by piece, layer by layer, part by part, with the right tone, the right execution. And I think it's gonna come together really nice. The fuzz. The songs are starting to come together. We're just tightening the screws down, getting things ready to track to tape. I'm using a lot more effects than I usually do. because I think these songs need some different sounds. So I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone. Phil's becoming an effects boy. Okay, so today's our first day of actual tracking in the studio, and they're getting drum sounds right now. We just finished our first song. We spent hours getting the drum sounds in these songs. We rehearsed them for a week. We tweaked the arrangement a lot. But now, when you track the song, you listen back to it on the tape, it sounds like it's already mixed and produced and done. Which is really refreshing because we live in a time of zeros and ones where you can always make decisions later, and it's cool to like commit to a decision, collectively decide on it, and take the time to dial in the sounds, and then it's like you already made your production decisions. The song is, then mixing is just little tweaks. So I really like the way the workflow is going. I wouldn't say I'm becoming a pedal guy, but I'm intrigued by pedals. Yeah, and I think like it started with the producer Johan wanted to try some different sounds on the bass, and he just kind of threw some pedals in my chain. I was like, try this. And then Rhett too was like, hey, try this. And it's definitely out of my comfort zone, but I really like it. So I think I should probably get back in there because it sounds like they're getting guitar sounds. But I just wanted to check in and say I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm really, I don't know. I don't want to take for granted the fact that I'm getting to play music, so this is a really cool experience. I've been using a spring reverb, and I put some foam in the bridge, which gives you a kind of muted sound with some decay. Like an old school baritone vibe. What we're doing too is we're splitting the signal. So the amp has the spring reverb, but then we also have a DI signal that's totally clean. So that way we're giving our mixing engineer the option to blend two different signals later. If they want that weird sound, they have it, but if they want something that's just true and a little more meat and potatoes based, they have that too. I think the record is, as far as the band goes, is done. This has been a really special experience. This is the first time I have done like a full-length album to tape, and it's definitely a different workflow and a different experience. I think the creative experience is enriched when you get to make things with people that you trust. It brings out different versions of yourself that you didn't know were there. And I think it makes us better for it. Sometimes a weird sound is just what the song needs. So that's newer for me. And that was fun to experiment with. And I think that took the producer Johan and also Rhett helping me explore that to start to get comfortable with it. But I think the album will be better because of that. I think there's a growing movement with bands, a budget saving technique of self-producing, which sometimes is necessary and it can work. Or maybe it's an engineer that's producing, or maybe it's one of the band members that's producing. But having an outside creative perspective to just kind of help steer the music in the right direction, that's a really helpful resource. This producer, Johan, is really good at what he does. And I think that's special to get to work with someone like that. I don't want to take for granted the fact that I've had this opportunity to come here and to be creative and to have a space. So the fact that Thijs invited me to be here and made it possible for me to be here is really special. So yeah, this was a really special week. And I can't wait for you to hear this music. I've let you hear a little bit of it, and I don't want to let you hear too much because it's not ready. But do follow Roofman, and this album will come out in 2022. Stay tuned for that. When it's out, I'll post a link in this video.